It was the spiritual teacher Thich Nhat Hanh who said, the real miracle is not to walk on water. The real miracle is to walk on the earth. And I love that because to me it speaks to the heart of what true spirituality really is. You know, when we get into all these spiritual teachings and we become spiritual seekers like I was for many years, I was like the world's most obsessed spiritual seeker. It's so easy to get mesmerized by all these teachings about pure unadulterated perfection and the end of suffering and transcending the world and getting into altered states that it's so easy to forget that we are also human beings. We have these animal bodies. We also walk on the earth. We are also wonderfully fallible, imperfect, vulnerable, sensitive human beings, as much as we are pure and perfect and divine and pure consciousness and pure awareness and all of that. So I think there is a shadow side to spirituality, and in particular, I mean, my experience has been with non-dual teachings. I mean, for many years, I was considered to be a non-duality teacher, whatever that means, and I kind of had to quit a few years ago to resign from being a non-duality teacher, only because I found that this word non-duality was confusing so many people, and it was becoming, if I speak really honestly, I feel like it was becoming a kind of cult. Like, I'm non-dual and you're not. Or like, non-duality is the true truth, is the absolute truth, and all other viewpoints are less than. I felt like it was, for many people, it was becoming a dogma. So there is a beautiful, beautiful truth to the non-dual teachings. You know, on one level, we are, and this is something you don't have to believe. This is something that you can look for. You can look for yourself, and this is what meditation is great for: looking for yourself. You know, on one level, when we really look, what we find is that deep down we are this awareness. This, again, call it what you want. The words don't really matter. They're all fingers pointing to the moon. You are this vast ocean of pure awareness, unchanging, undying. You are timeless. You are ageless. You are pure spirit, pure divinity. On the deepest level, I am what you are. You have your life story and I have my life story, but underneath both, we are the same awareness, the same presence, the same consciousness, the same ocean. We appear as separate waves, but we are the same ocean. So there is a beautiful, of course, I'm massively oversimplifying it, but that's the basic truth of non-duality: is that who you really are on the very deepest level is this pure. It's unspeakable, of course, this pure awareness. So the danger of non-duality, and this is what I found over the years, is there were people going around who were so identified with being pure awareness. It's like that had become their new identity. Their ego had latched onto this idea that they are pure awareness. You know, and I'm only exposing this because this is what I did for many years as well. I was one of these people. I believed with all my strength and all my heart and all my might that I am pure awareness. I'm not a mind, I'm not a body, I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my story. I am pure awareness. So there's a beautiful truth to that statement, but the danger is, and I've just seen this, I saw this happen in myself, I see this happen in non-dual students, I've seen this happen in non-dual teachers. It just becomes a new resting place. It becomes a new dogma. It becomes a new identity. I am pure awareness. And you kind of, the danger is you fall into this kind of untouchable place. You become this untouchable, pure awareness. And of course, that's not what you really are. Deep down, you still have all these kind of human feelings and doubts and fears, and you still have trauma. But you are denying all of that, suppressing all of that, because your new identity is that you are pure. I am pure awareness. So it starts off as a beautiful living truth, but the danger is that it just becomes a dogma. It becomes another resting place. It becomes a kind of I'm special thing. And you know, I being part of the non-dual teacher club for many years, I went around the world and I met a lot of these non-dual teachers, spiritual teachers, awakening teachers, at conferences and hanging out with them and staying at their houses. And I probably shouldn't say this, but I will. I was mostly very disappointed over the years meeting these spiritual teachers, and let me explain that. I think I had this idea that they were all perfect human beings. So it was actually very beautiful to one by one to meet them and be disappointed because, and this was behind the scenes, spending time with them when they weren't on stage, when they weren't being watched, all of them, bar none. And I met some of the most famous spiritual teachers on the planet, most successful, most famous. They all, every single one of them, they all had doubts, they all had fears, they all got triggered sometimes. They all had trauma that they were struggling with. They all, well, I mean, there was a whole range that I saw, but at the very worst, I saw them take out their stuff on their partners, on their students. But look, this is not to judge anyone. I'm not saying this to judge. What I'm saying is, we are all so deeply human. As much as we are pure presence, pure awareness, divine, we are also human beings. We are also infallible, fallible, imperfect human beings. Not infallible, fallible, imperfect human beings. So it was actually a blessing that my expectations, my projections, one by one were completely shattered. And I started to realize, oh my goodness, we're all just human beings doing our best. And it was very enlightening, actually. And I came to realize very, very, very deeply that, we may believe all these things, all these spiritual concepts and ideas, but what does it all mean if we're not really, really, truly living it in our daily lives? So that's what really interests me now, is really living these teachings in our daily lives. And not trying to be perfect and not trying to be the most enlightened, but really embracing our deep humanity, embracing our imperfections, embracing our doubts. These aren't shameful things we need to hide. And with all these spiritual teachers I met, it's like, some of them, bless them, were really open about their imperfections, about their doubts, about their things they were still struggling with in their lives, the relationship conflicts and dramas that they had, problems with family that they had. And some of them weren't. Some of them, just no matter what you said, they would just pretend to be perfect. And I never suffer. I never feel pain. I never feel doubt. I never feel anger. That's all ego. That's all illusion. Blah 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 blah. But we defend ourselves in so many ways, don't we? So again, this isn't to judge anyone. I've been just like that. I was one of them. I've talked about this many times. For years, I believed I was the most perfect human being on the planet. I believed I was the most enlightened human being on the planet. I believed that I had no ego, that I was pure awareness, I was untouchable, and I had truly, 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 truly realized that, and everyone else hadn't. So it was ironic, in the name of non-duality, I was separating myself from everyone else. So it was actually very, very dualistic. So yeah, this is just to remind you that it's it's okay to be imperfect and human and struggle. And spirituality, non-duality, enlightenment, whatever you want to call it, it's not about eradicating all of our human vulnerability. It's about giving ourselves deep permission, moment by moment, to be beautifully, wonderfully human and sensitive and vulnerable, to make mistakes, to screw up sometimes, to forget who we are sometimes, to have wounds that hurt, and to learn to turn towards those instead of pretending that we're perfect and pretending that we have no wounds and pretending that we are pure awareness and pretending that the body isn't real. All of these concepts, they're all just concepts. They're all just concepts. And what I've learned is that the true freedom and the true joy and the true peace has come from letting go of even the non-dual concepts. I am pure awareness, all of that stuff. and just surrendering to the present moment as it is, letting myself be imperfect. There's been such relief and joy in just allowing myself to be imperfect. And ironically and paradoxically, that's where you find the true non-duality, which is not at war with duality. It's not opposed to the appearance of duality. It doesn't say, oh, duality is just an illusion. Human stuff is just an illusion. It's less than. There's no superiority in it. It's the ocean not at war with its waves, not rejecting its waves, not saying, oh, all my waves are an illusion, or trying to get rid of all of its waves. None of that. It's the ocean deeply in love with all of its waves, embracing all of its waves, at one with all of its waves. Ultimately, the ocean is not separate from, it is its waves. So non-duality ultimately is not separate from the appearance of duality. It's all one movement. So then that's why I had to quit. That's why I had to quit as a non-dual teacher. It didn't make any sense. So these days I'm just so deeply in love, more than ever, with our wonderful, fleshy, earthy, muddy, sensual, imperfect, vulnerable humanity. With our beautiful doubts, with the mistakes that we make, with bless us all, we try so hard. We try so hard to do it right. We try so hard to be good, to be all these things. And for me, I've found spirituality not separate from the world. Non-duality not separate from duality, but deeply infusing. My divinity deeply infuses the earth. It's there in a dog poo on the pavement. It's there in the face of my child, in the face of my partner. It's there in a cloud, in a blade of grass. It's there in a tree. It's there in the sound of the cars beeping their horns outside. It's here in the body, in the flesh, in the joy and the sorrow and the boredom and the clarity and the doubt. In all of it, it's all sacred. It's all sacred. And so I just wanted to make this video about just pointing out the shadow side of spirituality, or the shadow side of non-duality. Is the danger is we become less than human. We forget our humanity. We become very, very serious, and non-duality becomes a new dogma, and we start pretending to be perfect. And that becomes the goal, is being perfect and never suffering. And then we just end up becoming cold and robotic, and it's exhausting, and we do damage to each other, because when we forget our own deep humanity, we forget the deep humanity of the one who's in front of us. So the more we can fall in love with our own deep humanity, and open to our wounds, and admit to our doubts and our fears, then we can more deeply meet the one in front of us. And how very paradoxical. We're one, but we're not the same, as U2 sang in their song One. We're one, but we're not the same. We are all the ocean, but at the same time, we are these unique waves, these unique expressions of the ocean. And I think sometimes the danger with non-duality is that we become so mesmerized by our sameness, we're all pure awareness, that we end up missing or dishonoring, or at worst discounting, or at worst shaming our wave-like nature, shaming our differences, shaming our individuality, our humanity. So this video is really a call to forget all the concepts about non-duality and just let yourself fall in love with your deep humanity. And there I believe you'll find the true non-duality, the true spirituality. And we don't even need to use those words. The real miracle is not to walk on water, the image of perfection. The real miracle is to walk on the earth. Thank you for listening. If this video has been helpful anyway, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I'll be making more shortish videos like this in the future. Lots of love to you.